For as down bad as Call of Duty has been the last few months with Black Ops 6 and how Black Ops 7 doesn't have the legs right now that other upcoming titles have had in the past, it's a bit surprising that we saw a recent report from Circana, an industry analytics firm, that had published their top 15 games within active users across PlayStation and Xbox. An interesting addition to this list was Call of Duty World War II. That shot all the way up to number 8 on the list after previously being all the way down at number 118. Though that was before the game was taken offline due to many serious security issues through the Game Pass PC access. But that's not necessarily the surprise that I'm referring to. Instead, above GTA, Minecraft, Roblox, and even Fortnite, Call of Duty sat at number 1 for active players on both Xbox and PlayStation. How in the world does that happen? If again, we see Black Ops 6 is so unappealing to so many of the vocal community, and how Black Ops 7 doesn't seem to have a whole ton of hype or marketing behind it to draw people into the current game. Well, that's where our good friend, the Call of Duty HQ, comes into play, a corporate executive's best friend that gets to report these types of numbers and analytics leading the industry, but only with a footnote to specify that it's not just one game, not two, not even 3, but 4 total games rolled into one that attribute to all those numbers. The Call of Duty HQ is constructed to make things easier to manage across development, with Warzone being a clear indicator that a product they were going to make across titles became a sort of too many cooks in the kitchen situation, with changes made across titles influencing the main multiplayer experience that were unintended and had other adverse effects. And streamlining all those tool sets all in the same main hub, it mitigated that, but also meant that this umbrella could account for multiple titles. To date, we've seen the COD HQ include Modern Warfare 2, Modern Warfare 3, Black Ops 6, and Warzone. With Black Ops 7 on the way, that number in theory should be inflating even more, right? Well, actually, maybe not. Because with Season 4 Reloaded, data mine leaks pointed towards a lot of things. New weapons, new streaks, new operators, some Black Ops 7 stuff like pre-order bonuses, and even gameplay details. But one thing that was, to many, something you may not care about in passing compared to other things that may be a bit more flashier and a bit more apparent, is an equally fundamental piece was found that was a change to the COD HQ. Game files pointed towards UI text that said Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 and Modern Warfare 2 are now available outside of the main Call of Duty install. If you're currently playing those titles, re-download them to access them directly going forward. This brought a flurry of different opinions, speculative guesses, and all, but then later was followed up by the fact that we now see more asset packs individually available in PlayStation's database, and presumably Xbox's, Steam's, Battle.net's, and the Microsoft Store as well. But according to PlayStation Game Sizes, an account dedicated to watching the database updates for PlayStation logging systems, they reported new update Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 packs, campaign, multiplayer, and Warzone packs for both Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 were found. These packs are the first updates for Modern Warfare 3 since Black Ops 6's launch, and the first Modern Warfare 2 update in the last nearly 2 years. So what does this mean? Why are they doing this now? Well, simply put, the COD HQ is getting an update, but it's not necessarily what everybody seems to be speculating that it's going to be taken offline, or at least it doesn't appear to be that way. Now, are we going to see things entirely removed from going forward? No, but we are starting to see their plan for the long-term support of the Call of Duty application and the games then housed underneath it. Pretty soon, as databasing doesn't happen unless it's right around the corner for a live environment, pretty soon Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 will be detached from the COD HQ. Something that if you're still actively playing either of those may be a bit annoying, as it seems like you'll have to be required to re-download those assets, not just simply have them move to a different directory or something. Like, let's say you take a file from Windows Explorer. You could cut and paste that from a different folder and then open it from the other folder without having to re-download anything. But instead with this, you're going to have to reinstall the entire game, it seems like, which in some cases is pushing 100 gigabytes of data for you that you may already have downloaded. Now, functionally, what this means is that it's just simply going to be in its own place and have its own standalone directory. Similar to how on Battle.net you can still launch Call of Duty, but you can also launch things like Black Ops 4, Modern Warfare 2019, Black Ops Cold War, and Vanguard all in one location. Those just not necessarily underneath the Call of Duty application. Those are available to boot specifically by themselves. Now, that also doesn't mean we'll likely see all mentions of Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 removed from the current COD HQ. I mean, we still do have that other games tab and legacy options for games from Modern Warfare 2019 and beyond that are connected and sort of attributed within the COD HQ, but it's not directly in the Call of Duty HQ application. These will genuinely cross-boot from the game, but it closes the COD HQ before doing so, instead of booting from the COD HQ, which is a subtle difference, but also could lead to additional ways to booting the game. But honestly, while booting it may not necessarily be a big deal, the future plans may very well be. Black Ops 6, Black Ops 7, and Warzone upcoming is what we'll see as that main focus now, where you're going to not have as much bloat, and we'll come back to that term in a second, on the COD HQ, where you now, instead of have 5 games, you have just 3 games to manage underneath that. And there'll likely be another refresh coming within 2026 and 2027 to get rid of either Black Ops 6 and or Black Ops 7. If they do it on 2-year intervals like this, then it will be something we won't see this happen until 2027 with Sledgehammer's next project, but it will be something that this seems to be the way going forward if they continue with the COD HQ and they don't dismantle it altogether. It seems like they're going to try and keep this to be a thing, so I would imagine the next couple of years we see periodical resets like this, not necessarily just completely deconstructing the HQ. But the big question beyond that is, if this was built for the through line of Warzone, like if everything is under one application of the Call of Duty HQ to make things streamlined, to be a more collaborative process, and to spill into one specific pot, what happens to Warzone with Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 being removed at that point? Are those assets then removed if they're not in the rotation of things under the umbrella of COD HQ and as a separate application? Strangely, it kind of sounds possible. Again, coming back to that sort of quick association of if you take a file from one folder and put it into the next, on its own it can end up launching from that different folder, but if something from that larger folder that has more files associated with it now somehow doesn't connect to that file you removed, well, then it doesn't necessarily work as intended and potentially topples the whole house of cards. So will this happen? We don't know, but it's also uncharted territory that we can't write this off just yet. It is possible that this could lead to our first glimpses of vaulting in Warzone. Weaponry, camos, skins, and such in the future of Warzone could potentially be going away with the integration for Black Ops 7 upcoming. If we truly do not have the application pulling from the same sort of centralized database of files, it could be possible that Modern Warfare 2 and Modern Warfare 3 weaponry do end up going away at some point here, which would be a first for Warzone outside of the exception of Warzone 1 to Warzone 2, where they completely changed that foundational sort of root system. Obviously, again, this was why they introduced the COD HQ, to end up getting this set up so you didn't have the sort of just inconsistencies with different development times, with the integrations of each game to follow. It was something that 1 to 2 had to happen, but otherwise this would be a first that what we have in Warzone could potentially have an expiration date. This, while not necessarily a popular choice if made, since players have spent money on the products at hand, it would perhaps be something that eventually would maybe need to be a necessity to avoid extreme bloat. To potentially have 4 premium titles worth of assets all funneling into one experience. I mean, we saw with Modern Warfare 2019 and the Warzone experience set up with that yes, it wasn't all one sort of similar platform base, but we saw with 3 games, Modern Warfare 2019, Cold War, and Vanguard, that it was a mess by the end with file sizing, balance, you name it. There were so many things that went into it that 3 games into one package was just a little too much to handle in terms of making an experience that was solid all around. So with Black Ops 7 upcoming, it's quite possible that this vaulting system could come into play. Again, maybe it doesn't, but to me, this would be the logical reason for why they're disconnecting this kind of stuff. So I don't want to say that it will as any sort of confirmation. It's truly just speculation, but it certainly seems like we might be on our way to the possibility of that happening. But what do you think on this? Do you think that it will be something that in the future we start to see vaulting happen with Warzone as associated with the COD HQ being sort of something that revolves around the most recent 2 to maybe 3 titles at a time? Do you think if that happens, it's the right move to do in Warzone? Do you think it's something that they made this situation, they got to deal with it, where everything funnels all into one game in perpetuity? Whatever the case, let me know your thoughts down below. But that's where we're gonna wrap it up. If you guys enjoyed the video, you found it at all insightful, do me a favor and drop a like on it. Of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Call of Duty. We got a lot of stuff upcoming that I'm really excited to jump into later this fall. Battlefield, if that happens to launch, Call of Duty, of course, Ark Raiders, and plenty of other things here that we'll be touching on the channel. So I'd love to have you guys in the community. But for now, thanks so much for watching. Mine is Espresso. I'll see you later. Take care and peace.